It looks like we're live. David, we're going to do this a little differently today, me and you. I hope you don't mind being my guinea pig.
Never, never. Bring it on.
Well, that's good, man. So thanks for being here today. Guys, I have David Sylvester. He's with Lumu, Lumu, and they are a security company. And I got to say, I've got tough questions I'm going to ask you, being a security company, because there's a lot of them out there, man. There's a lot of them out there, and I always worry that, you know, a lot of them it seems like there's a lot of security companies out there selling snake oil. Let's call it what it is, right?
You
But
betcha. Of
you're not doing that though, are you?
course not. Of course not.
Well, I mean that's what you want us to think, I bet. Let's so
Yeah.
let's talk about what is it exactly that you guys do, because I look at your website. It's lumu.io, lumu.io, and I mean it's a beautiful website. I mean, I'll give you that. Pretty colors, pretty dashboard. But when I just look at this, I'm not sure if I know exactly what you guys are doing.
Fair, very fair. Very fair. I mean, it's hard to just get on a website and know exactly what all is going on, right?
Hmm.
We are the founders of the continuous compromise assessment strategy. All right. And so this is a whole new defense strategy that MSPs, small businesses, medium businesses can use. And what we essentially do is we intentionally look for compromises in the network, and we use your network metadata to tell the story. So long story short, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this a lot today, but we assume that you are compromised in the first place, and we show you the coordinates of your IT assets that are compromised. Um, so it's a new approach. The MSPs have been taught over the last decade, 2 decades really, do your pen testing, patch all your vulnerability scanning, use this endpoint solution. Hey, get your firewall. All these solutions, all that stuff's good, but you see with these breach dwell times of 200 plus days, we're missing the mark. We're spending a ton of money on all these defense tools, and I don't want to just be another defense tool, right? I actually want to do something different this time. But now I'm going to say intentionally look for compromises and be on top of that activity to avoid those bigger breaches. So that's, I can keep going and going. I'm sure you're thinking of more questions here, but does that make sense, Steve?
It does. So I'll ask you quite possibly the toughest question first.
Okay.
Today is the 13th of July. Kanye West, great presidential candidate or greatest presidential candidate?
I'll say great. I'll, I'll say great. That is a tough one.
All right. So I see on your website that you've got some stuff here about COVID-19. You've got stuff where you are comparing yourself to a SIM, which is really interesting. And then obviously you talk about real-time compromise measurement. So what would you say your greatest feature, your greatest what's the word I'm looking for? Value is to MSPs.
Really, I would say it's the ability to quickly turn on a solution and start understanding where your MSP clients are compromised, where IT assets are communicating with adversaries. And you can do this in 10, 15 minutes right now, Steve. You could open a Lumu free account, you know, and forward your DNS metadata us, and we're going to start showing you which of your IT assets are resolving out to adversarial infrastructure. you mentioned SIMs, right? The those were built initially for a lot of reporting, for regulations, compliance. They've been adapted since to be more, I guess, efficient, if you will, but it's still going to require a lot of ninja queries, a lot of time and resources to manage. And at the end of the day, are you really getting those compromised devices that you need, right? MSPs, they don't need all the noise, all the, all the events and understanding, basically all the alert fatigue, right? It's not necessarily there on a silver platter for them. Lumu puts, here's your compromised IT assets right here on a plate for them to take action and prevent the cyber kill chain from going forward.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that for the MSPs that want to be security minded but don't want to invest in the infrastructure or the manpower to basically run a full-blown SOC SIM
Exactly.
thing, they should sign up for Lumu, because your system is going to basically look at our assets. You're going to look at the logs, and then you're going to spit out actual usable information as far as this asset has some type of security threat. Here's what it is.
Exactly. It goes back to the premise for the MSPs. Let's assume we're actually compromised and prove otherwise.
Okay.
And so, even though you're doing all your patching, right? You're on top of all your vulnerabilities, you're doing your pen testing, you've deployed very strong endpoint solutions, you got good social awareness with, threats with your clientele, you're doing all the right things.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you are still not directly measuring and looking for compromise inside. And if you want to just make that an easy thing to add, that's what Lumu's here for, to make this just kind of easy to flip on and start seeing. And that, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to know about, right? That's what matters. And let me just be clear about something. We use network metadata. And why network metadata? The common denominator of these attacks, the adversaries have to use the network to carry out and ultimately exfiltrate the data, right? Like that's where they need to sit and reside and do all the stuff that they like to do to get the payout. And so MSPs are sitting on this network metadata, but not necessarily correlating it and using it to know what's actually happening inside the network.
Okay.
And Lumu does that.
Now, what exactly is this metadata? Like, can you
Perfect.
just, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So there's 5 distinct sources, and we collect them all for a specific reason. And let's start with DNS queries, right? So DNS queries, all the IT assets of an MSP are resolving out on a daily basis, right at this moment, right? Everybody's browsing on the internet, and that information is really what we see as a gold mine that you can see right off the bat, our IT assets communicating with adversarial domains, right? We know a lot of intelligence around, and we'll be able to show you right away. If you forward your DNS to us, we show you when you have an IT asset communicating out with an adversarial domain. And that's a big deal, right? That's where, malware is installed, credentials are given. You should want to know about that specific IT asset if you're really on top of things, right? The second thing is, tell me more with these devices. So, you can get into actual net flows and more of that lateral movement on the device. Are we seeing weird file transfers? Are we seeing, more of that suspicious activity at that point? Gets a little more granular at that point, little more advanced with net flow metadata. The other data sources, access logs for your firewalls and proxies. Why are these important? Attackers are trying to get through directly north-south. If they can't make the employees resolve out to their adversarial infrastructure, to their malicious domains and stage attacks, they're going to try to go right through you, right through your firewall. So again, we want to collect those. And then last but not least, Steve, spam box. How many MSPs today are content with simply blocking spam for their clients and signing off there, right? That's what we see. What's better than that? What's taking it to the next level? Well, analyzing who and how people are attacking you, and correlating that back to your DNS queries to see if the spam attacks are hitting home, right? If you can actually correlate DNS queries with your spam box content and see what's happening. Maybe there's a specific employee that just keeps getting hit and we're seeing that machine resolve out. So think of Lumu as this network metadata collection solution that sits in the cloud. The MSPs just, they point this stuff to us. We make sense of it and very easily show them the compromised IT assets and give context.
Gotcha. So
kind of a mouthful there, but yeah.
So, and I'm going to apologize because I think I missed because you said there's 5. I heard DNS queries, net flows, access logs, and the spam mailbox.
Yep, the access logs, I'm kind of counting the firewalls and proxies as 2 there. But yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so I didn't actually miss
You got
one.
Them. You were listening.
Okay. I got nervous, that's all.
but again, so think for the MSPs listening today, you got to buy in, to get over the snake oil conversation, right? One, am I using my network metadata to tell my security posture right now, real time, right? Because if that data, you got to believe that it holds the secret messages to what actually is going on, right? Because adversaries, that's where they need to sit. That's where, so, Lumu, we see this shift in organizations being very good at knowing what's happening, getting over this false sense of security because your pen test says you're good, because your endpoint solution advertises that they're going to stop every threat coming in. That's good. You need that stuff, but, don't stop there, right? Keep watching your network metadata, be good at operationalizing the intelligence, and that's how we can stop these long dwell times of being undetected, right?
Well, excellent. All right, so all of this is done, I'll say, with artificial intelligence, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, it not. Yes, but there's components to it, like the DNS queries, right? When you create a Lumu free account, you forward your DNS to us. We maintain a threat encyclopedia, if you will, of 75 plus threat sources. Some we pay for, some are open sources. And right out of the gate, that's, that information's being updated real time, and we're going to compare. All right, we see this DNS query associated with a malware domain through Fish Tank, and we need to know about it. That's not necessarily AI, right?
Sure.
But it gets more advanced as you do the more advanced data correlation between the data sources.
Okay, so how can the MSPs trust that Lumu is actually going to do, I guess in my mind the question should be, as good if not better of a job than a SOC SIM type solution? Where maybe I'm even going to say, what if we just compared you to outsourcing the whole SOC thing to a company like Vigilant? and using that. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It may not be a direct replacement. You always got to look at it from the perspective of the MSP, what they're looking to do, and a lot of these, from what I see, a lot of these MSPs are smaller. 4 or 5 employees. How are you going to run a 24/7 SOC, right? It becomes a challenge with the limited resources and really getting that information you need. The try that we make available, right, without committing is doing these Lumu free accounts. Like and we want MSPs to go ahead, try that, open the account, just see how easy it is to start the process and start getting real information and seeing if that's helpful for them, right? That's what it really boils down to. I don't want you to take my word. I'm a sales guy. I'm going to push you towards that, see if it works for what you guys are doing in security, and then kind of go from there.
Okay. All right. So let's take it back a little bit. So you guys have been doing this. I think you and I were not yet live when you said that your company's been around for about a year, and you really haven't been trying to pitch it too hard to MSPs so far. But now it seems like you're coming after us.
Yeah.
We're your new target for. I'm trying to make you sound like a bad actor, and I can't think of the words right now. So.
Right. Yeah. No, we're on the prowl, right? You are like a pack of wolves coming out. Now, here's what happened, Steve, which I think is really interesting. We went to RSA Security Conference back in February before all this shut down, and we were getting a lot of press with what we're doing. A lot of the analysts were checking out this whole continuous compromise assessment message and excited because it's new, it's different, and it makes sense when you really look at it from a fundamental perspective. There was an MSP visionary guy named Jason that's associated with Robin Robbins, right? Yep. I don't know if you know them, but basically he looked into us. I think he liked what he was seeing, spread the word with the MSP community. We started having, 70 MSPs signing up for Lumu free account literally overnight. Okay. Back in February, March timeframe. And it was like, wow, this is incredible. We need to understand more what their security needs of these MSPs are and see if, this is something we can help with. And I think it makes really good sense. So we have since won MSP customers that have seen value with what we're doing. And we've had a number of conversations with MSPs to, help us build a better product for them and their daily needs. And that's, this doesn't happen overnight, right? Like we could create an MSP website right now, say we do a lot of stuff, and at the end of the day, it's really not set up for them. We want to avoid that. But we are starting to get more and more MSP attention, and there is value right now with what we're seeing. It's only going to get better. And so that's kind of, that's where we are right now.
Awesome. So before Lumu, what did you do?
Sure. So I was in the electronic fraud prevention industry, which is very closely tied to cybersecurity, right? I mean, usually they steal credentials and these breaches happen, and then ultimately it's, hey, let me log into your bank account and steal the money. And so that company was named Easy Solutions, and I was there for 7 years. And ultimately, it was startup. Ultimately, it was acquired by a company called Sixtera. So it was a similar journey where, startup stage, all the way through acquisition, electronic fraud. And the whole time, while we're fighting fraud and looking at anomalies for transactions and, suspicious credit card transactions, all that stuff, account takeovers, we kept watching these breaches, right? I mean, everybody was just getting nailed the last 5 years, even though they had unlimited security budgets and buying all the best of breed solutions, Equifax, Capital One, Facebook, whoever it was, right? And so we saw that there was a bigger opportunity, even than the fraud market, to get in the cybersecurity game with solutions that really helped detect breaches better and just be more functional in the day-to-day operation. And everybody from enterprises down to small, medium businesses, right? And so Lumu was created by the founder of Easy Solutions, a great guy named Ricardo Villadiego, visionary security technologist. And so, fast forward to where we are now, we've a lot of the same band that was at Easy Solutions is now at Lumu. And we learned a lot of lessons from that electronic fraud venture growing as a company that we're now applying to cybersecurity. So that's it in a nutshell. I did have a break in between, just so you know. I got some fun stories if you want to go into some personal stuff. But, Easy Solutions before, now Lumu cybersecurity front.
So I might want to get into that fun stuff, but I am really interested. I really love fraud prevention type stuff. So I'm curious as to what type of stuff were you guys doing over at Easy Solutions for fraud prevention?
I mean, there were 4 kinds of products, and it was more of a layered portfolio approach. And the first one was really a proactive threat service that we provided, and we maintain a 24/7 SOC. So think more, phishing websites, social media engineering campaigns that they're trying to dupe clients. Like a community bank here in Pennsylvania where I live, all of a sudden there's a new profile page on Facebook and trying to communicate with their clients saying, hey, we have new hours, give us new information, whatever it was. We proactively managed and shut down those attacks.
That's really
and it gets pretty crazy because that stuff it can happen in a moment's notice. It's a nightmare scenario where it's a very targeted attack. And they don't know what to do, right? And you see it at the MSP level with small businesses. With somebody's going after their profile online and their customers, and how ultimately we saw this as credential harvesting for account takeovers and fraud. So it was a very key component of our defense strategy. So that was kind of one piece, very successful. The other one was, so we maintain a 24/7 SOC service, doing this. Another one was more of an agent that financial institutions could provision out to their end users' devices and get more granular protection. And this was, think man in the middle, man in the browser type attacks that they've gotten on the machines. They're compromised, right? The IT asset is compromised, and they're communicating with adversarial infrastructure. And this is a high-end commercial account, corporate account, and the bank wants to know about this, right? Similar to MSPs, they should want to know when these IT assets are communicating with adversarial infrastructure, so they're not just more or less sitting ducks, right? And we were able to offer protection through that agent and visibility. So that was, again, another granular, more device level protection, but very specific, financially motivated malware, not your traditional endpoint security solution. Still very successful and used today, by the way. Um, Thirdly, was more around authentication and having just a really solid multi-factor authentication solution that would be able to ward off these type of attacks when the devices were compromised. And then last but not least was more that transaction anomaly detection system. So again, getting more into risk scoring for transactions, for accounts, letting the financial institutions know, hey, this one's off, guys. You need to know about it. Do out of band authentication with it. That was really what Easy Solutions was set up, and it was eventually acquired by another security solution or security company. So again, fraud prevention definitely goes hand in hand with all this cybersecurity breach prevention stuff, and that's what the founders of Lumu, that's their DNA.
Very cool. So the cool thing about us being live is somebody just asked a question.
Woohoo! Bring it on.
Let's see. We got Alan here has asked, how's pricing handled? Endpoints, networks, data volume?
Yeah, beautiful question. And again, thank you, Alan. We're still defining this with MSPs, right?
Okay.
Like and we've closed some deals with early MSPs that we're working with as true partners and not just trying to make a lot of money. That's not what it's all about. So our model is based more on number of IT assets under management. We have navigated into, tell me how many small businesses you have that have 25 employees and less, how many are under 50 employees, and trying to stick to that more or less dollar per endpoint model, which we've uncovered MSPs seem to really love and try to stick to, right? But it's a work in progress, and it's not solidified, to answer your question. But what we've seen is we've tried to, with MSPs that are ready to work with us at these earlier stages, and as the product's still getting developed, this is not just a full working train engine machine right now, right? We're able to provide value and do some stuff, but I'm very careful in what, we share with our clients, what's ready, what's kind of coming. And that's just, if you're getting fed that by a cybersecurity company that just everything's going to work beautifully and protect you guys, and that's, to me, it's just, no, run for the hills, right? This is a work in progress, especially a company that's a year old. We're doing really cool stuff, but just kind of know that's, we're going to have real open conversations with you. So,
and I like that you're going to be open with us. But the one thing that I've seen at some other startups that honestly really kind of turned me off is them trying to figure out what their pricing should be. So they'll I'm not going to name names, but there was a marketing company, and they were specifically for MSPs, and it started off as you can have up to 1,000 contacts in here for free, and then they changed their minds and said no contacts for free, and we're going to charge a minimum of $250 a month, and then they changed their minds again, and then it was we'll give you 200 contacts for free, and more than that will be $200 a month, and I'm talking within weeks.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah. There was a 2-month span where they changed their here's what's included for free, and then here's what the entry price point is, and they changed all of that within the matter of weeks.
Yeah.
And they were doing it to existing customers, not just new ones.
That's
and I think that right there is one thing I'll tell you. It really pisses me off when I budget one thing, and then within 3 weeks, the number gets changed over and over. Because when you look at MSPs, we can't just sit around and play, can I afford this, every other week.
Yeah.
We've got jobs to do. We've got a
Right.
business to run, and our business can't revolve around you guys not knowing if you want to charge this or that. So, are you going to say, all right, look, we're going to charge you X dollars a month, and we may change our pricing, but you're locked in at your price, as long as you're a customer or for this set amount of time or whatever. Are you doing that for us?
Absolutely, Steve. Like it's not. This isn't a gotcha type setup we're doing, right? And
Well,
again,
it's not even that it's a gotcha. It's just
it's
it. Some companies just really don't have their shit together to the point where nobody
yeah, it's all
knows.
over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and again, we've through our early conversations we've had with MSPs, we get it, right? They don't have time to deal with the spin, and they just want to know. Let me know what it is. I'll make a decision, and I'll go. Um, and that's we get it. So again, I think for Alan and you guys, we're I see it more of a dollar per endpoint more or less right now until we fully define it. But we see it on a monthly basis because that's what we see how you guys are operating, which makes sense, and that's what it's going to be. Once you're set up, that's it.
Good.
You try it with Lumu free. You see if it's good value for you, and we'd love to work with you guys.
So what
So
what do we get with your free account
yeah.
if we
So
sign up
the
today?
great question. So the free account, you you basically see what Lumu is able to do with your DNS queries. All right. So
Okay.
you create gateways and you forward your DNS traffic to us, and we compare that with our IOC threat sources. And we're going to show you just how many, the type of your profile, your compromised profile based on DNS queries. Now, what
And that's
typically,
and
yeah,
just
go
to
ahead.
just to throw it out there again, that's basically one of the five distinct sources of metadata that Lumu will look through to see if somebody's been compromised. So you're basically saying I'll give you 20% of our product for free.
Exactly. The only thing though, Steve, you know, once we see stuff, you're gonna say, tell me which IT asset it is though. Tell me the
Oh,
coordinates so then I can actually do something with it.
so you're not going to tell us what device
We
has
don't
the problem.
we to do that you need to configure our virtual appliance,
Mm.
which is the paid tier. All right. So we're illuminating that one, you actually have points of compromise that you should know about, and and then you would configure the virtual appliance in our paid tier to go from there. Now we typically do trials with the virtual appliance too. If somebody's really interested, like, wow, you guys showed me a lot, I'm really interested, can I use the virtual appliance and just see how it really works and how I would make this operational with my day to day? And we typically work with them. They can actually request that feature in the product itself, right in the Lumu free
Oh,
account,
nice.
and we go from there. So, we want it to be easy. Few clicks, you know exactly what you're doing. You guys make it. We don't want to waste your time, and we don't want to waste our time, right? So
Sure.
it's kind of, and that's
And
how
that's
it's set
fair.
up.
That's
Yeah, and
absolutely
then
fair.
and as the product continues to be developed, we're looking at how we can, bring in some of the other data sources too. With try like a 1 month trial with spam as an add-on, right? And doing some of the analysis there. That type of stuff still under development going forward. But that's kind of where we are now.
Okay. All right. So, what do you charge?
What do we charge?
What do you
All
charge?
right, let me tell you this. I'll give you what the latest MSP deal that we closed. Okay, Midwest MSP. They had three customers over 50 employees. think 50 to 100,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had 6 25 and less. Basically, that's nine companies more or less, 50, around that.
So I feel
We
like I'm hearing 250 to 400 endpoints ish.
basically, and they're paying 360 a month.
Okay.
So
So
that
now,
that and
so now I feel like I'm hearing $1 an endpoint.
exactly that, and that's what we worked out with this one, and it seemed to work well. He liked the comfort level, and some of his clients, just to give you an idea, they're municipalities, they're school districts, they're small businesses of a manufacturer. These types of guys that they're we get it. They're not just pocket rich with cybersecurity budget,
Mm,
and for it to be worthwhile for the MSP, I see two things. One, you better be providing real value to your clients, most importantly, and understanding when you have compromised devices, tools you have in place. And then secondly, we want you guys making revenue too on your security stack and your offering, right?
sure, I
So
appreciate
that's
that.
and exactly. So that's the only way this will work. We found that he wanted to start with these 9. He saw another 12 clients coming over later in the year, and transparent agreement. You got an annual subscription. This is what it will be for these 9 customers, 360 a month, and that's where we are. And I hope he brings more over to us, which I think he will.
Very cool. So with Lumu, you've already said that this isn't going to replace certain things. So what would you say a successful MSP should be using alongside Lumu to provide the best protection without having 97 tools in their security lineup?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and
And
you
I'm
know,
and I'm not asking for like I want you to tell me we need Sophos this and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't need you to list names.
right,
But it would be nice for us to know like all right, here's what I think every MSP should have in their toolkit.
right. I mean, what I see, the stuff that we still see, you can't just, because you have Lumu doesn't, and you're intentionally looking for compromise now, doesn't mean you can just stop with vulnerability scanning and patching and updating your operating systems, right? Like and if you don't have some type of endpoint solution, EDR, you're still going to just be open and vulnerable, and stuff's going to pour through. All right, right. So I see you still need an endpoint solution, right? You still need your firewalls. You still need to do your security assessments, such as pen testing, vulnerability scanning. That stuff's all good. My thing is just balance that more prevention focus with intentional detection of compromise inside and assume that you've been compromised. So it's you depending on your guys' risk appetite, you can just keep buying and buying and buying tools that are going to do some type of prevention and play that game, right? And if I had to just tell you, Steve, do these 3 things. I mean, I would say your security testing strategy that a lot of these guys are doing, endpoint defense solution, and your firewall.
Okay.
And the email, I would add some email, since most of the attacks are originating through email. You better have some type of solution that's blocking bad email from getting into the endpoints. I mean, that should be pretty straightforward, and but again, take it to the next level and do that analysis. What's actually getting in there? Where is it hitting home? Deeper correlation is kind of going next level.
All right. I think it's time to to get into the lighter, more fun stuff.
All right.
So you said you had a break in between, and I did a little bit of googling, and I see it looks like your break was not computer related at all.
No. Well, yes. I mean, yes and no, and I'll expand on that. But keep going.
It
What
it
are you
looks
seeing, Steve?
it looks like you did like rowing.
I did. I did. I started a local business,
Okay.
and being in the fraud prevention, I was traveling a lot, not really connected with the local community, and I've always been, just healthy fitness guy, and I really enjoy indoor rowing. It's just low impact, full body workout, heart rate, some resistance, and if you've never done indoor rowing and you like fitness, I highly recommend you do it. But I built a boutique studio, went all out on the visual and audio system, working with the local MSP, by the way. So think of me as kind of a client of an MSP too. So I understand that whole relationship too with technical support and making sure stuff's functional. But anyway, I started this. It's going well. I'm still doing it. We've kind of been halted. It's actually across the river from where I live in New Jersey. But anyway, just a fun hobby and business on the side that keeps me healthy and connected with the local community. And when the Lumu idea came, Ricardo, the CEO and founder of Lumu, told me what he was building, and this is too cool a thing and opportunity for me to not get involved at Lumu too. And now I'm just, I'm keeping or going on the side, but all in on Lumu too. And Lumu helps me it helps me stay healthy, mentally strong, all that stuff that I think is really underrated when you're growing a high growth cybersecurity company.
That's fair. You could probably tell that I maybe don't worry about my health as much as I should.
It's never too late to get going, and you can do some virtual workouts with us, Steve. You have my invitation to some, all right?
All right, I appreciate that. So, do you still have this business?
I do. I
Okay.
do. And I'm paying rent while I can't even open right now.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
that's right. You're in Jersey.
yeah, so it's the last class was about all the time we started getting all the MSPs signing up on Lumu Free around March 13th. And it's been sitting there, sadly, for since then. And
Wow.
it is just what it is. I'm still very fortunate to have a job in Lumu, and I'm very excited about growing it. But I'm also painfully aware of how much time and energy we put into that, and we're hoping to get it going again. But fitness may never be the same in brick and mortar. We'll see.
And I know I'm sure everybody's sick of hearing about COVID-19. I am sick of hearing about COVID-19. However, I am really curious what it has been like for you. So I mean, I'm in a suburb of a suburb, man. Like I'm in Medina, Ohio. All right, I am a county away from Cleveland and a county away from Akron. So where I'm at, I mean, we we are fine, and I'm doing my little air quotes. I think it cut them off for the people on
Yeah.
YouTube. In fact, we're so fine. I'm gonna open up the news app because I'm a weirdo MSP. I run a Mac. I'm sure somebody will forgive me, but I'm gonna open up the news app here. I know that Summit County in Akron, I know people are calling Akron police the Gestapo because if you even get out of your car without a mask on, they're like running up and yelling at you. And then like here in Medina, it's, laissez-faire, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Mask, no mask, nobody cares. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
so, but over in your area, I mean, it is a much, much, much more different story over there. I mean, you're close enough to New York City that I suspect you are also really heavily impacted. Um, I'm not even in the top 10 of counties. Here I am. In the last 7 days, my county has had 16 new cases.
Okay.
But, you look at like Cleveland, and that county's at 193. So
Yeah.
so obviously, there's a few things at play. Smaller county, more open area. I mean, there are people that have acres and acres of land here with their property. Um, so obviously we have that kind of stuff going for us. You are in an area where I suspect everyone's kind of on top of each other, and it's just absolute chaos trying to drive anywhere on a normal day before COVID. But now is it like ghost town? There's
It's
those brush things going across streets like in the desert in the cartoons.
yeah. Well, it's not. I mean, I'm in a small town called New Hope, Pennsylvania, right on the Delaware River, and it's really in between Philly and New York. It's a lot of cool history around here for the history buffs. Used to be where you crossed the Delaware River back in the day before cars, and you'd spend the night here when you were traveling Philly to New York.
Hmm.
And on the other side of the river is New Jersey. So, um, what we see, what's kind of been, I guess, the main topic is a lot of the people, these are small towns, scenic on a river, right? And people want to get out of Philadelphia, New York. It's a big kind of bed and breakfast, historic tourism, get out of the city. And so these guys all come in, and then that's where that's where it's kind of like locals are dealing with that, right? How to keep businesses going. The tourism is huge here, but also keep cases down. That's been kind of the back and forth and that we've seen. So I have 3 kids, Steve. All 1, 3, and 5. The 3 and 5-year-old are going to school now. Okay, which I think is really rare. We're lucky. This school they're small. There's only 20 or so kids, and it's all outdoors. And my 3-year-old is able to wear a mask all day. It's pretty, just think about that, right? It's like, but they're taking extra steps, and it's just, but those are the decisions we're having to make, and it's definitely top of mind for a lot of people.
So I gotta say I'm so torn about this whole like mask business. Like I hate everything to do with it, with having to wear one. Because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a surgeon, and I'm not normally wearing one of these things. I'm sure that those guys, it probably took the doctors and surgeons a little while to get acclimated to wearing a mask before they go into a crazy 12-hour complex surgery, right? And then there's me. I put my mask on. I'm barely in the grocery store, and I'm freaking out. And I don't think it's really because I can't breathe. I feel more like it's like I'm claustrophobic,
Mm.
and I'm just not used to it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll live. I can breathe. It's that warm, stale air that you get like when you put your head under the covers, right? Like nobody likes
Yeah.
it, but I'll live.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you. And I totally hear you.
But what I don't understand is the people that are like losing their minds over this stuff. Like it's okay to have an opinion, but I just get really frustrated when, I've got friends that are like getting screamed at because they're walking around a store without a mask on.
Yeah.
But the person
Yeah.
that's screaming at them went the wrong way down the aisle.
Yeah, just stuff
Like,
like that.
like, okay, so if you're gonna be picky about this, shouldn't you be picky about all of it? Like, I guess that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm a church going person, so our church is going to open up here in just a few weeks, and when we open up, masks are recommended, and I think out of respect, I'm going to have to wear a mask. Once I sit down and I'm just with my family and we're there watching, I'll take it off. But when
Yeah.
we're talking to people, I think just out of respect, because I care about the other people around me there that I'm talking to that I have not been around, I'll wear my mask. When I go to the store, I guess my thought is I'm not like talking to people. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I'm in, I'm getting my crap and I'm out. And a
Right.
mask isn't going to affect all the things I've touched.
Right. 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 Right.
So I I'm torn on the whole thing, man. It's so frustrating, and I hate that it's like a freaking mask is now that a hotbed of a subject.
Right. That's pretty sad state of affairs. And just kind of for the screaming, right? If anybody's screaming, it's just come on. No, that's not gonna. The screaming's not gonna help anything, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
So,
And I can tell you're trying to dance around this because you don't want to say anything that upsets people.
well,
Uh,
it's there's not much good that's gonna come. It's just again, I don't. It's sad, and I know everybody has to deal with it one way or another, though, right? I know it's very visceral. So, but yeah, I also want to tell you about our awesome summit coming up on Thursday.
yes, yes, please do.
All
So what exact? So you have a summit. Where do we go? Is it we going to
Yep.
we going to New Hope? Is that where you're
Well,
holding the
yeah.
summit?
Well, it's all virtual, Steve. It's all virtual.
Oh,
So
even
a
better. I don't
big,
have to travel.
a big part of this, we were actually signed up for MSP World in New Orleans in October, and of course, all these events are kind of just getting blocked, delayed or just canceled. And so we've started doing a virtual summit series and really going all out on them, and doing them different than your typical cybersecurity company that's just going to do product demos. So if you go to lumu.io/summit, it's going to pull it up. And this is this Thursday, okay? This Thursday, 90 minutes, 2 hours or so. We've lined up. We have Puerto Rico's first gold medalist from, tennis rock star, young, awesome energy, Monica Puig. And we're going to kind of, I actually I'm going to go back and forth with Monica and a moderator on why a precise response is needed in tennis, but also in cybersecurity, and kind of have fun doing some comparisons and analogies. And she's just going to talk about, precision and how her response to her competitor and her adversaries. And I'm going to talk more about it from the cybersecurity angle, because it's, just have fun with it. Have a fun, open conversation. We've also got some, very forward-thinking cybersecurity technologists that you can see there on. I don't know if you're on the website, but Lane Best, former CEO and founder of Palo Alto. I'm sure there's some MSPs that probably use firewalls from Palo Alto, maybe on this call. The guy's just fun to listen to, knows his stuff, really good energy, and just, Ricardo, our CEO, is going to talk about, kind of state of the industry as a whole with Lane. We have one of our customers, CIO in Greenhill, which is a global financial firm, investment firm. This guy has global infrastructure every corner of the globe. very highly attacked industry, and he sees himself as a cybersecurity progressive visionary, uses a lot of these advanced tools and constantly staying up to date. And we're going to do a Q&A session with him. So long story short is we're going for an entertaining forum, really value added, staying away more from our product, and just again having genuine open conversations with people that our listeners are going to take away. One, they're going to have fun, and two, they're going to learn something. And that's what we're doing as a company, kind of the Lumu way here. So the last one we had a World Cup goalkeeper out of Colombia, South America, come on and just talk about vision as a goalkeeper and how it's needed as cybersecurity. How you need to have vision with what actually is happening. So penalty kick coming at you. What are you looking at? What's going through your head as a goalkeeper? As a cybersecurity practitioner, what are the same foundational principles you need to use to protect yourselves and your companies? So if you guys, what I see, if you're tired of the typical cybersecurity webinar fatigue, we are your antidote to that crap, right? And come give Lumu a try. We think once you come once, you're going to want to come back to the next summit, and you're just going to like us as a company. That's what we want.
So, like I said, that sounds like a good time, man. I'm going to tease you a little bit right now, but it's because I actually want to help you have a better summit. So hear me out. I think you might be like hitting your table when you speak, and it shakes your laptop, and it looks like you're going through an earthquake.
Oh no!
So
really?
Yeah. So
all right.
So this is what's happening.
Okay. Maybe I'm talking too loud.
You think it's just your voice?
Dude, funny story on the side. We have birds that just took up residence in our chimney. I don't know if you can hear them in the background.
I haven't.
But these are migratory birds from Peru, Steve.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they're living and they're chirping away. I actually got one of my kids' baby sound machines to kind of block the noise, but that's in the background here too.
So I do think I might be hearing like a white noise generator.
Okay.
So is it like going?
A little bit. Okay. Yeah.
So I do hear that a little bit in the background, but I mean that's fine. I don't hear any birds though.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So
they're probably napping or something.
That's good. Hey, thanks so much for coming on here. I do hope that some MSPs will check your product out. I have not checked it out, so I can't give it like, the seal of approval or anything, but I like what I hear. It's at least worth a peek, guys. So check it out.
Continuous compromise assessment.
Awesome. Check it out. Check out their summit. How do we register for your summit?
You can basically just go lumu.io/summit.
All right.
Free registration. Appreciate you guys, sharing the word too with your colleagues. We're again, we want to make this a huge success for everyone and just do it the right way. But we need help bringing people here too. So we'd love for you guys to come. We even offer a concierge registration service where we send you a calendar invite. If you just email us and let us know, you can email myself, dsylvester@lumu.io, or just register yourself. You're in. If you can't make it, we'll send you the recording. And I hope you guys give Lumu a chance.
Love it, man. I'm gonna get myself registered for this thing right now. Thanks again, David Sylvester, VP of Global Sales at Lumu.io. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Steve.